We're in the city of Chico out at Tin Roof Bakery and Cafe, and I'm here with Jordan. Jordan, give us a lowdown on what Tin Roof's all about.
You know, we're a wholesale bakery. We got a cafe production. You know, we do tons of pastries, bread. You know, we got 40 employees here. It's a non-stop business. It's around the clock. It's always happening here.
When you come inside the cafe, it looks very, small and quaint. I don't know, it looks like about 20 or so tables. But then when you look through those glass doors, it's ginormous.
Yes.
What's happening back there?
So yeah, back there's 4,000 square feet of production, and we make anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 loaves of bread daily that we serve to over 40 to 50 restaurants all through the county. On top of that, there's a whole pastry production, a kitchen production, and the pastries making all the beautiful pastries you see here, and we're providing them to over a dozen cafes in Chico and all over the area.
So what started first, the cafe or the bakery?
The bakery did. So it started in 2001 out in a little warehouse on the outside of town, and we just started baking bread for a couple restaurants and at the Saturday Farmers Market here, and it's blown up into the facility that you see here today.
And what did it start with? What was the first product you guys created?
The first product was the Chico sourdough. I mean, that's what we're known for. That's what people come here for. That's like 50% of what we sell, is the Chico sourdough.
What makes the Chico sourdough different from any other bread or any other sourdough?
It's just bread. The bread is the process, that goes into it, and the ingredients, and everything you put into it. So it's a long process. It's a strenuous process, and when it's all said and done, you're left with this great loaf of bread,
Sure. So how long have you been the GM here?
I've been the GM here for about 4 years now. I've been a part of the business for 8 years. Started as the head baker, baking bread. So the bread is my background, and moved my way all the way up to operations.
You keep rising up, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
A bakery humor right there.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us, I always like to ask this of anyone who runs or operates a restaurant, what's your favorite item here at Tin Roof?
Oh man, I mean, all the pastries are so good. We use all seasonal stuff, so it kind of depends on what time of the year. Like right now, we got some cheesecakes with figs all over it, and figs are seasonal. We bring them in from local farmers, and pretty much anything with a fig on it right now, I'm all about it.
You're all about it, huh?
Yep.
You said you're going around the clock. What's around the clock mean for you?
I mean, that means the pastry ladies get here at 2 a.m. in the morning. They bake all those pastries, have them ready to go by the time our cafe opens at 7. Bread crew is here from basically 8 to 1 a.m. They're packaging it from midnight. The delivery drivers show up at 6, so one day leads into the next. It's an ongoing thing.
Dude, you're not kidding, man. It's like a 23-hour process?
Yeah, pretty much, and it's even longer than that with all the starters and pre-ferments and things like that that go into the bread. Actually start days and days and days ahead,
Wow, so your hours of operation are 7 till
5, yep.
So you're a breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
We don't do dinner, we just do breakfast and lunch, We have all our morning croissants and pastries. We also do our fancy desserts. And then for our lunch service, we always have 3 scratch soups. Everything that's in Tin Roof is scratch made. We don't use anything out of a bag, nothing like that. We do paninis, sandwiches, our salads, all the good stuff.
Wow.
As well as a full espresso bar.
So can we go back to the bakery and kind of see what's happening back there?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool,
All
let's
right.
do it. It's a bit warm back here,
Yep.
Jordan. Why is that?
Because it's a bakery, there's lots of ovens firing off right now,
Woo.
Lots of machinery, production equipment, and you can't really use ACs or things like that to cool down a bakery because it'll actually affect the doughs, that are being made.
Speaking of doughs being made, this is like non-stop since we've been back here. So how long does it take to go from, I guess, ingredients to dough to eating, serving?
So this one actually contains a sponge. So a sponge is just a yeast and flour combination that we use. That takes about 4 hours. Then we'll add that to our dough mix. From there, it has a fermentation time of 2 hours, gets shaped out, and then it proofs for another hour, and then it's ready to go into the oven.
So what's going on right here behind me? What, like these ingredients right here on the back
So
side?
as you can see, we got jalapeno cheddar, we got Kalamata olives, we got rosemary, and those are just all additives that go into our focaccias.
And what's going on back here?
So right now they're pulling all their croissants, and this is all the pastries that'll be in our case tomorrow, and will get delivered to all the cafes and things in the area. This is the proof box, so you know. But we'd like to say this is where the magic happens. You know, all the bread gets brought in here, gets put into all its final shapes, and basically this is where the whole rising process happens.
Jordan, what's happening now, man?
So we got Taylor here. She's one of our lead bakers, and she's gonna score some bread for us and load it into the oven. The difference between baking bread at home and baking bread in a professional bakery is that you have this steam function, which gives the bread that great crust that everyone desires on a sourdough, a French bread, and things like that. This is all the same dough, but it's turned into a lot of different shapes. So that's just kind of showing the versatility of bread, you know, that it can go from a loaf to a baguette to a batard to a boule to all these things.
You're just cutting it in the middle, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
All different loaves of bread have different cuts because it's how it kind of exhausts the energy that's inside the bread. So the wrong cut on a kind of bread will kind of have all these little blowouts and things like that on the side. So the way that you do your cut is very important to how the bread's going to come out of the oven.
So it's not just for looks. There's a purpose to it.
No, it's a purpose to it. And here comes the steam function.
Okay. Oh, yeah. How long? Wow. How long will we be doing that?
So right there, that's about a 4 or 5 second steam. And basically the oven's loaded with all these pieces of rebar, and it hits it with a bunch of water, which causes the steam function to happen and coats the bread and water.
So it happens in a few seconds, and how long will you keep it in there?
It just depends on the loaf size, how, you know, some restaurants want it par baked so they can finish it in their kitchen by themselves. The stuff we sell in the cafe, we want it to be more full baked, and you know, but most loaves anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes.
Is it hard for you to eat bread at another place?
Once you work in a bakery, you become a bread snob. Pretty much every restaurant you go to, every grocery store, everywhere you go, you look at the bread, you look inside, you look at what's called the crumb of the bread, which is the inside of the bread, and the holes that are in it. And the more open the holes are, the more it kind of hit its potential. If you've ever seen sourdough with those big open holes, that's a good thing.
Can people who come in your front door in the cafe, are they invited back here, or is it just kind of through the window?
If they ask, I always give it to her. I love showing this place off, you know, so I always encourage anyone that comes in to check it out because I want people to see what really goes into it, you know.
What in the world is that?
So that is a peel right there, and I'm sure you've seen them mostly in pizza shops. But at a bakery, we got to have a peel that's about twice the size and about 10 times the length, you know, because as you can see, the decks go back a solid 8 to 10 feet, and you got to be able to get all the way back there.
Well, Jordan, you twisted my arm to try one of your white mocha cinnamon lattes, right?
Yep.
Oh my. All right, and what do we have right here?
So, you know, I got our signature bread, Chico sourdough right here. This is the loaf that it all started with, you know, using our classic sourdough starter, you know, the one that's 100 years old that we feed 3 times a day.
Dense.
Yep.
All right, and what about these sweet treats you got out here?
So we got our maple bacon eclair, one of our most popular items. So that's our figgy frangipane tart using almond flour, local figs from Al Vogel Farms. And, you know, frangipane, just kind of that almond-y flavor that's really good, you know. People like to refer to them as almonds in this country, you know. It's pretty funny. And then we got our French macarons, which is, you know, something that people just can't get enough of. We rotate our flavors all the time. Right now we got a strawberry cheesecake, we got a Bailey's, and then we got a chamomile here, and we're always rotating our flavors.